All right, Shalom Makiam. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. We are the Hebrew Israelites, which consist of the Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, Seminoles, Indians, West Indians, and Haitians. And according to the Holy Scriptures, we're God's chosen people. Shalom to all the brothers out there pushing this knowledge and sincerity and truth. Shalom to confusion of faces. What you're looking at is a true depiction of the one ignorantly called Jesus Christ, whose real name in the Hebrew is Yahweh Shai, and the Heavenly Father name is Yahweh, the one ignorantly called God or Jehovah. And we are living the last days of the so-called white man power structure, the last days of this wicked empire ruling over the whole planet, and you're about to witness the second coming of the one ignorantly called Jesus Christ, whose real name in the Hebrew is Yahweh Shai, to redeem the elect out of this planet and to destroy this wicked power structure on the Esau, destroy America and destroy the EU, the Russians, all the heathen nations will be cast down. All right, coming back at you with another lesson. In today's lesson, I'm going to deal with the Apostle Paul on the third dimension. Now, I'm not the third dimension, the third heaven. Slack you on that, the third heaven. Because when I go through these scriptures, Apostle Paul, he died. Pretty much he crossed over. The scripture don't really elaborate how long Apostle Paul died, but when he died, he had an out-of-body experience. Pretty much he saw the spiritual realm. And there's different accounts of people in the world of, dying for a short period of time, and it was brought back to life. Now, when the Apostle Paul was brought back to life, he remembered a lot of things, and the things that he remembered when he saw in the fourth dimension, because that's what the third heaven is, the fourth dimension. He said that things were very, pretty much he couldn't really explain it in our terms. You understand? But when you go through the scriptures, you had different prophets that saw Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai and the angelic beings in that third heaven, and they pretty much broke it down the best way they can. So I'm not certain what he saw, but according to the scriptures, dealing with the book of Daniel, I'm gonna go into the book of Revelations, what John the Revelator saw and what Daniel saw. You can add it together and give you an idea. When you cross over, pretty much you're going to see Yahweh himself, you're going to see Yahweh Shai, you're going to see the angelic beings, and you're going to see the other souls up there that crossed over, that died. Okay, so pretty much our atmosphere is the first heaven where we live in at. When you look up in the sky, this is the first heaven. The second heaven is outer space. And the third heaven is the fourth dimension with Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, the angelic beings dwell. Okay, so without further ado, I'm getting to the scriptures. The Lord willing is edifying listen unto the very elect. It says, 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 1, it is not expedient for me doubtless to glory. I will come to visions and revelation of the Lord. Okay. I know a man in Yahweh Shai above 14 years ago, whether in the body I cannot tell, or whether out of the body I cannot tell. God knoweth such, and one caught up to the third heaven. So Paul is talking about an experience that he had 14 years ago, prior to dealing with the church of Corinth. And so we're going to go into that and elaborate what happened to him 14 years ago. So we can go to the book of Acts, chapter 14, and I'm going to start at, start at verse 8. And it says, and there were a certain man at Lystra, impotent in his feet, being a cripple from his mother's womb, who never had walked. The same heard Paul speak, who steadfastly holding him, and perceiving that he had faith to be healed. Faith is the key element to coming onto the Most High. You got to believe that he is. Him and his son is, and it goes from there, different steps. All right. Said with a loud voice, stand upright on thy feet. And he leaped and walked. And when the people saw that Paul had done, they lift up their voices, saying in the speech of Lycaonia, the gods are come down to us in the likeness of men. So back then, a lot of people, these are Israelites, were caught up in those Greek Roman customs of worshiping these different deities. And they call Barnabas Jupiter and Paul Mercurius because he was the chief speaker. Then the priests of Jupiter, these are all idol worshippers, which was before their city, brought oxen and garlands unto the gates, and would have done sacrifice with the people, which when the apostles Barnabas and Paul heard of, they rent their clothes and ran in among the people, crying out, saying, Sirs, why do he these things? We also are men like passion with you. Because you got to remember, man, everything is up to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. The miracles that, our ancestors perform is from on high, man. You can't take the credit for yourself. And that's how we move in the spirit, man, with this understanding. All right. We also are men of like passion with you, and preach unto you that he should turn from these vanities unto the living power, which made heaven and the earth and the sea and all the things that are therein, who in time past suffered all nations to walk in their own ways. Nevertheless, he left not himself without witness, in that he did good, and gave us rain from heaven and fruitful seasons, filling our hearts with food and gladness. And with these sayings, scarce restrained they the people, and they had not done sacrifice unto them. And there came thither certain Jews from Antioch and Iconium, who persuaded the people, and having stoned Paul, drew him out of the city, supposing he'd been dead. So this what happened 14 years ago, prior to when he dealing with the church of Corinth. He got stoned to death. Okay. Continues, says, howbeit, as the disciples stood round about him, he rose up and came into the city. And the next day he departed with Barnabas to Debris. So the Lord brought his spirit back in his body. So this is what he's talking about in 2 Corinthians. Is it 2 Corinthians, chapter 12? Right? When it says, I knew a man in Yahweh Shai above 14 years ago, whether in the body I cannot tell, or whether out of the body I cannot tell. So he had an out-of-body experience. Pretty much he crossed over into the spiritual realm. He said, the most I know is such and one caught up to the third heaven, which is the fourth dimension. Okay. And it says, and I knew such a man, whether in the body or out of the body, I cannot tell, the most I know it. How that he was caught up into paradise, and heard unspeakable words which is not lawful for a man to utter. Pretty much he couldn't really break it down in the terminology of that day. Okay. Of such and one will I glory, yet of myself I will not glory, but in my infirmities. So he received deep revelations. He saw a lot of deep things, like the prophet Daniel saw, and the prophet John the Revelator saw. So we're gonna get into that real quick. Okay, so we can go start off with Daniel 7 and 9, and I got a picture to show you. You understand? To give you a visualization of what the prophet Daniel saw. So I can't say for certain this is what Paul saw, but these things links up with John the Revelator as well. What's the whole purpose of crossing over in a spiritual realm? You don't get to see your power, right? Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. All right. Daniel 7:9. I beheld till the thrones were cast down. The thrones dealing with all the different nations, empires that will be thrown down and destroyed. And the Ancient of Days did sit. There's another name, another title, not another name, Salakia. Another title for Yahweh. Ancient of Days mean no beginning, no end. Yahweh always been here. Whose garment was white as snow, and his hair of his head like the pure wool. Okay, so pretty much he's Most High is a dark-skinned man. He's a so-called black man. His throne like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. So pretty much Daniel seen the vision of Yahweh himself on a throne, and he's seen a gigantic spaceship. All right, so here's a point. A fiery stream issued and came forth before him. So this is dealing with the fourth dimension. Thousands of thousands minister unto him. These are the angels, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. These are the souls that crossed over, that died. And the judgment was set and the books were open. So that when you cross over, pretty much that's how you get judged. Your judgment plays out on the planet in the flesh. Okay? There's no such thing as hell. So I'm gonna give you a good illustration. Not this one. This one is from Revelations 4. All right. This is a good one right here. Can't really see the face, but in the back you see the thousands and thousands ministering unto him, and that's Yahweh in the middle. Okay, so this is what Daniel saw, and it says the books were open. So pretty much everything that you do in your life is recorded, man, whether good or bad. And when you cross over to the fourth dimension, you meet the big man and the sun and the angels, and they read to you what you've done in your whole life, man. Okay, so this is not a game, man. So so Paul at that time, he couldn't really, break down what he really saw in the spiritual realm, but we have an idea through different prophets to give it to you how the fourth dimension is, man. And pretty much it's paradise, is peace. When you read different stories, man, because you out of this weak decrepit body and you don't feel anything, man. According to different stories, that's all. You look it up, things of that nature, people that had that out of body experience. Okay, and a lot of times people don't remember, man. The Most High will take that from you, but he left these different things for us as men. He revealed his secrets unto the servant, the prophets, for us to bring out to the elect. Okay, so that's one example. Another example is on Revelation 4 of the fourth dimension, the third heaven. And it says, Revelation 4, this is John the Revelator. After this I looked, and behold, the door was open in heaven. All right. And the first voice which I heard was that it were a trumpet talking with me, which says, come up hither, I will show these things which must be hereafter. And immediately I was in the spirit, and behold, a throne was set in heaven, and one sat on the throne. So let's go back to the first picture. All right, brothers in GMS put this together. Good visualization, man. Okay. And he that sat was to look upon like a jasper and a sardine stone. And there was a rainbow round about the throne in sight like unto emerald. So pretty much like you go into the different stones like jasper. Jasper is like brown. All right, let's I want to mess this up, see what it says in the translation. Right, when you go into the different stones, it give you the different colors, and jasper is brown. All right, jasper is brown stone. He says he that sat was to look upon like a jasper. So it means he was a brown skinned, dark skinned man. That's what it's talking about. In a sardine stone. Let's look up the word sardine. Sardinous. Yes, you see that? It says sardinous, precious stone, of which there are two types. The former is called carlinium because flesh colored. All right, so pretty much our power has pigmentation, and the latter a sard. Okay, so our power, Yahweh, is a dark-skinned man, has pigmentation. Okay, plain and simple, he's a so-called black man. All right, and there was a rainbow round about the throne in a sight like unto emerald, and around about the throne were 24 seats, and upon the seats I saw 24 elders sitting, clothed in white raiment, and they had on their heads crowns of gold. So it's a good illustration what the scriptures is talking about. See the elders right there? Okay. All right. So God himself is a so-called black man, dark-skinned man. Okay. And the son, so-called black man as well. Okay. And out of the throne proceeded lightnings and thunderings and voices. There were 7 lamps of fire burning before the throne, which are the 7 spirits of the Most High. Before the throne there was a sea of glass like unto crystal, and in the midst of the throne and round about the throne were 4 beasts full of eyes before and behind. Okay, give you illustration. These are the 4 beasts that he saw. These are the same beasts that Ezekiel, the first chapter, saw, but they were all in one body structure. When I break this down, they're gonna be, gonna be individually separated, and they all mean something. Okay, the first beast was like a lion, and lion represents courage, and the second beast like a calf, and the calf represents let's look it up. I want to mess this up. Like a calf. Bear with me 1 second. I believe the calf represents purity. If I Salaki, if I went off on that. And the third beast had the face of a man, which represents, understanding. And the fourth beast was like an eagle, represents, be able to fly. All right. So this is the illustration of this real right here. I'm sorry. Yeah, the ox, the calf. I'm sorry. So I got it now. The calf which goes back to the ox, represents strength. So the lion is courage, the ox is strength, the man is understanding. Kind of walk goes back to upright understanding, and the eagle represents swiftness. Okay, the Wadiyah Bashim Yahushai, because it links up with Ezekiel, the 1st chapter. All right, got it. It's all through the spirit. And the 4 beasts had each of them 6 wings about him, and they were all full of eyes within. Literal eyes, man. So there's some crazy stuff. If like when Paul went up to the 4th dimension, you try to explain this to a regular brother that never they'll be like, what the hell, you won't be able to understand it. So now the Lord is giving us understanding to give the elect, if you can receive it, man. Because people try to put the Most High in a box, man. The Most High is far out, man. This is some not a better word, it's crazy stuff, man. This is some crazy stuff. Like, the Lord is far out, man. And the 4 beasts had each of them 6 wings about them, and they were full of eyes within, and they rest not day and night. The angels don't rest, man. The Most High and the Son don't rest, saying, holy, holy. They're in the celestial bodies, man, that can manipulate and move in the 3rd dimension, our realm, man. That's a whole nother level. And saying, holy, 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 Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, which was and which is to come. When those beasts gave glory and honor and thanks to him that sat on the throne, who liveth forever and ever, the 24 elders fell down before him that sat on the throne, and worshiped him that liveth forever and ever, and cast their crowns before the throne, saying, Thou art worthy, O Lord, to receive glory and honor and power, for thou hast created all things, and for thy pleasure they are and were created. So everything on this planet, including ourselves, is created for Yahweh Bashim Yahushai's pleasure, man. Whether good or evil, you ponder on that, man. So this is what John the Revelator saw, man, in the 4th dimension. This is some far out stuff, you see. Okay, the Most High is a so-called black man, and this is what Daniel saw. Similar. You understand? But I couldn't find a picture where you could see the souls going forth before the Most High. All right. Okay. So I'm gonna close out with the scripture real quick. 2 Corinthians, all right, chapter 5, verse 10 through 11. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Yahushai, that everyone may receive the things done in this body according to that he had done, whether it be good or bad. And I believe it's a scripture in the Apocrypha. After death, that's when judgment come. I don't remember off the top of my head, because that's when ultimately your judgment plays out. This plan, you cross over, and if the Lord is not ready to destroy this place, you come back down in your 3rd and 4th generation. Okay, that's how it works, man. Okay. Knowing therefore the terror of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, we persuade men. But we are made manifest unto the Most High, and our trust also are made manifest in your consciousness. Man. It's in your minds. So yeah, man, this is a good illustration. What I believe, Paul might have saw in the 4th dimension. The scriptures don't really elaborate on what he saw in particular. And we got John the Revelator and the prophet Daniel to show, they were given those visions of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, the angelic beings. Or Ezekiel saw some similar to this as well, but he saw him in chariots. So, Lord willing, is an edifying lesson. Yeah. Lord willing, is an edifying lesson to very elect, and Shalom.